Welcome to the Lee Michaels Show with Carol and your daily cast of characters, where we discuss the issues of the day, entertainment news, what's really going on in Washington, and the world. Why don't we just hear it from the horse's mouth himself?
We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified. I don't think it's safe to be briefed on national security because the word will get out. I know at some point they're going to be calling, they're going to want to brief me, but I'm not a talker about this stuff. This is like Watergate, only it's worse. Because here, our foreign enemies were in a position to hack our most sensitive national security secrets.
Of course, it turns out the Russians didn't need to hack Hillary's email server. They were able to hack Trump's mouth.
This is like Watergate, only it's worse.
The Lee Michaels Show on the Power of Voices Radio Network.
Thank you, Mr. President. You are 100% correct. It is worse than Watergate. Welcome to the show. Lee Michaels live from Los Angeles to the world. It's the Lee Michaels Show every day, 10 until noon Pacific time. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Without you, it's just me and Carol and the boys making noise. But hit me. I feel like George Clinton today. I'm feeling kind of funky. You know what I'm saying? How you doing? Everybody good? Hey, Carol, what's up? What's up?
Well, there's a lot going on with me, so I don't know if you want to hear it.
Oh, if it's depressing, no, we don't.
No, it isn't.
It's some, you got some happy news?
I wanted to hear some opinions, but I don't know if anybody's on yet.
No? On what?
In the comments or listening.
Oh, well, they'll be there in a minute, so maybe hold that for a second.
Yeah, but I did go over to Costco's as usual.
Yeah? What'd you buy?
Just that and some vitamins.
What's that?
But you know, it's funny, when I went there, I go to Costco's a lot.
Yeah.
There's an older man, and he's homeless. Mm-hmm. He's not a wino or a drunk or anything. He doesn't ask anybody for anything. So I looked over at him. I could see he was hungry. I said, "Are you hungry?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Can I buy you
something?"
Something. And he said, "Yeah." He said, "One of those sauces." So I bought him a hot dog, and he got a drink with it. I went in and I got my vitamins, and I thought about it. You know, it's going to be really hot, so I bought him 2 bottles of water.
Yeah.
I came back out and I said, "You know what? 1 hot dog is not enough for him." Mm-hmm. So I walked up again. I said, "Are you still hungry?" He goes, he shook his little head. I said, "Okay." So I bought him another one, and I looked around at all the people sitting there.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure they seen what I did.
Yeah.
You know, how are you sitting there eating and you see this older man who could be your grandfather or your father?
Or it could be me.
He's not an alcoholic, and even if he was, what difference does it make? But
that's right.
To just sit there and see the man's hungry. So they all see me bring him another hot dog. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this young kid, when I was leaving, he said, he goes, "That was really nice." I wanted to say, "Well, you were sitting here eating. Why didn't you offer him something?" What's $1.50?
Nothing.
You know, so I left there, and I'm a person that cries really. See, I started having tears coming down my eyes.
Can we put the camera on so people
No,
can see it?
I just felt bad for him because you see so much of it now, and you read about these kids that are going to colleges that are telling you they can't afford to go to college and have a place to live. So a lot of them are sleeping in their cars or wherever just so they can stay in school. And
that's amazing to me.
And
we were talking about that. What was it, yesterday or day before?
We did. It's sad. You know, it's sad. Anybody that puts kids down because they have to go to their parent or either move back in or ask for something.
Yeah.
You know, kids that do have to take care of themselves. There's kids that don't lift a finger to have to do anything for themselves. I'm against that. Let them struggle a little. My son struggles.
You know, I have to really take my hat off to any person who is in school, in college, or in high school, and they're homeless.
Not even just high school, middle school. There's kids that.
That's amazing. That's just mind-blowing to me.
That's right. It was me and you in the car when I was telling the girl about my granddaughter that was on the radio one day. Mm-hmm. We had a lady Lee and I, we were taken out to the camp that Josefa's out for the girls, and got to talking to her, and she was talking about how she had been homeless and her mother had been a heroin addict and just her life. We're going to have her on the radio one day. And I was telling her, I said, well, that's funny because where my granddaughter goes to middle school, there's kids that they do not want to put in the foster system. They've ran from them because they get treated bad. They live by themselves in these vacant apartments. They have no electricity, but these kids go to school every day. We're talking 12-year-old kids that are taking care of themselves. And
that's amazing.
These other kids bring them food. Rain doesn't go in there because she said, you know, there's other kids that go in there to smoke. She doesn't want to be around that.
Of course.
It's just sad when you realize is our foster system that bad that these kids that have drug addict parents
it's that bad.
Don't want to be put in a foster home.
It is that bad.
I don't think we have orphanages any longer, do we?
I think, I don't know, but I think some of the Catholic churches might still have something. May not be in the same form that it used to be. But any child who is disciplined enough and that determined to go to school regardless of their living conditions, that to me is just phenomenal. And I can't believe that this is going on in this country. This is America, the greatest country in the world, allegedly. Used to be. I think we're kind of slipping because we're missing so many things that are going on in our world, in our country, in our streets.
It is going on.
It's disgusting to think that there are children living on their own in abandoned houses, apartments, or whatever, and still going to school. That, to me, is unbelievable. And it's good that they have the determination, the strength, the will to go forward regardless of their living conditions. God bless them. And will you find out more about where they are?
She won't tell me. I asked her. Well, kids, they all stick together on it. It's like, these kids do not want to be put in foster homes.
Well, okay, let's not put them in foster homes, but let's try to put them in a better environment. And let's make sure that they're safe.
Well,
these are children.
Listening to the girl the other day, if you listen to her, they kind of run from that, if you listen to what she was saying. Yeah, I found her very interesting because...
I found her very interesting as well.
I can't wait to bring her on the radio, but I'd like to have some kids on with her.
Well, that'd be great. And let's dig into it and find out what that's all about. But we've got to be able to... We have a responsibility to help these children because if they're living on their own...
They are.
Unprotected from the evildoers in this world... Eventually, they might slip off the log.
Well, that could happen.
Yes.
Look at the little girl who was out in her front yard, 12 years old.
Yeah.
They got pictures, drawn sketches. I don't know if Chris or people in other states heard about this, but it was out here. She was out in her front yard. These two guys had jumped out of a car, snatched her, put her in the car, turned her face, looked at it, and they said, aren't you a pretty one? They said, well, you won't be seeing your family any longer. So they were going to sell that child.
Of course.
Somehow they stopped, and she was able to jump out. Now, she told the police she had seen these guys hanging around their school. So they're out. They're out there. Yeah. So anybody that's got young daughters, it's not safe. In California, our kids can't even go play out in the streets. You just don't see it any longer, hardly.
That's true.
You don't see them out in the streets.
And I think that's pretty consistent all over the country.
Well, that's sad because I used to get to play kick the ball and hide and go seek in the streets, ring doorbells, and kids can't do that now.
No, they're in the house playing video games and texting and stuff like that. That's why there's so many unhealthy children in our society today because they're not out playing and getting some exercise. Hell, in the summertime, when if I wasn't in some kind of camp or whatever, Bible school or doing some kind of event, then when I got up in the morning, we had breakfast, and after breakfast, boom, I was out the door. playing with my friends, doing baseball, basketball, football, going fishing, crabbing. We were outside doing stuff. We didn't hang out in the house. And we'd come back for lunch, maybe. Sometimes we wouldn't come back until the sun was down. And then, that was our routine. But kids can't do that today because of the fear of being snatched by some moron out there that want to take advantage of you. You end up in another country or dead in a few years.
Well, that little girl was very, very lucky.
Yeah, she was.
But the thing is, she was aware that she had seen those guys hanging around that neighborhood and at that school. So it's obvious they've been watching these young girls.
Oh, they do.
Because she was right in front of her house from what I was reading.
Oh, yeah. And they know the routine. They'll sit and park and watch and scope out the situation. They know when the parents leave and they know the kids are there by themselves, or they'll go to a playground and sometimes befriend some of the kids and then snatch them up and they're gone. You'll never see them again.
The sad thing is, people are leery of anybody because there was another story where this guy was at a game and he seen a little kid by itself. Now, he was a father. He has his own kids. He asked the little kid, "Where's your parents?"
Yep.
So he was leading him around looking for the parents, and people heard him saying, is that your parent? Well, the father of the kid seen it. They walked up to him and they punched the guy. So see how things could be mistaken. Because in the father's mind, he still thinks this guy, and they say this guy's a businessman, has his own kids, and all he did was see a little kid walking. So see, it makes people afraid to help. Because I'll bet he won't help again if he sees some kid by themselves. So that's kind of frightening.
It is. Well, I'm not that guy that sits around and do nothing. I try to be vigilant and pay attention to what's going on in my surroundings. And if I see something that looks a little weird, okay, call me what you want. You're damn right. I'm going to snitch. I'm going to call somebody, or I'm going to intervene. I'm going to step up and be a good citizen. I'm going to be a protector. I'm going to say, hey, man, what are you doing? What's going on here? Sweetheart, are you okay? Do you know this guy? Do you know this woman? If I see somebody being mistreated in the streets, I'm speaking up. And I've got friends and family members saying, no, you shouldn't do that. You should leave it alone because, they may be coming after you. Okay. If they come after me, at least that child may be protected, at least for a moment. And I think that's what we should do as responsible adults. And speaking of responsible adults, let's bring in Chris Bass. Or did I misspeak there? Was that a question mark?
I had to look over both shoulders when you said that, man.
Uh-huh. You had to do what?
I had to look over both shoulders when you said that. About being a responsible parent.
Yeah, right. No, I didn't say parent. I said human being.
Oh, responsible human being?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I still looked.
Oh, okay. How you doing, man? Are you good?
I'm good. Not too shabby. Good morning to you. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning. I seen you on radio yesterday.
Oh, yeah, you caught that. Yeah, Yeah, thank you for chiming in. I saw that you liked it, and I deeply appreciate that.
I don't know what was wrong with me. I felt just, ugh.
You had to poo-poo.
Yeah, but I got a lot of my tax papers done, so they will be going out this week.
Yeah, you've been saying that for 6 months.
No, I really worked on them yesterday.
Yeah, right. The Internal Revenue is waiting for you at your gate.
No, when you do an extension, you have time.
We're going to put handcuffs on her. She thinks she can get away this time.
No, I do it all the time.
We got her. They're looking for you. They called my phone this morning and said, is Carol there? I said, no. Carol did not sleep with me last night, and no, she's not here. Did you check with her address? Well, we're there now. We're waiting for her. Well, so she'll be coming out for her little early morning walk, so hang on. And I said, okay, thank you, sir. So they're looking for you. She's very unconcerned. I don't think they want to mess with you, Carol, because, we know you'll throw them through a plate glass window and pull them back in.
No, I'm too old to do that.
Oh, you gave up that life? You're not a gangster anymore?
That life's over.
Yeah, okay. We shall see. So what's going on in the world, Chris? What you got over there? What's trending?
Well, what's trending pretty much, one of the things is about, as you know, the health care that the Republicans are trying to change and
Trump care. You mean?
Wavering.
Are we talking Trump care now?
Yeah, we want to call it that. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
The health care, they want to change that.
His name has to be on it. He's the one that's pushing to change it. He wants to repeal and replace, right? So he's got to man up and own it. Just like they branded Obamacare. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Trump care. From this point moving forward, it's Trump care. Call it what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just want to make sure we understood that.
No, I'm glad you clarified that. You're right.
Yeah.
And the GOP wants a new draft on the health care by Friday. So it is stalemate right now. They
put it off till after the 4th of July.
Yeah, they're not going to vote on it until
right,
then.
but still need a draft to take a look at it and then vote after the 4th of July, correct? Right. But the new draft of the health care will be done by this Friday and then, of course, going to the next phase after July 4th. 9 senators are opposing the Trump care. And just real quick, those 9 senators are Senators Susan Collins from Maine, Ted Cruz of Texas, Dean Heller of Nevada, Ron Johnson, Wisconsin, Mike Lee of Utah, Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia, Jeffrey Moran of Kansas, Rand Paul of Kentucky, and Rob Portman of Ohio.
Interesting mix of states.
Yeah, you caught that.
Some states were kind of a little surprising. Utah, I mean, it's pretty much deep red there, and some of the others, I wouldn't think they would be overly concerned, but which tells me that maybe they're really trying to say, okay, this is some real bovine excrement, and I can't sign off on it regardless of what my voters. And I think maybe that's what we're beginning to see a little bit of. I think it's too late for that, but that could be it.
I think we are seeing some pushback finally when it comes to certain things. I think that, once again, the whole thing about healthcare is very scary because people do need that to state the obvious, but nobody cares.
No, they don't.
I just thought it was funny that here you are, politicians, and you're working for the people. We don't want to help the people. You know, just when you find out, I think when you get able to line your own pockets and have people throw money at you and be part of certain constituencies, and you have to worry about serving the public interest.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is disrespecting of the office.
Well, I see, listen, what drives me crazy, and every time I talk to my friends or family members about this whole healthcare issue, it all comes back to this. Listen, from day one, the Republicans have been saying this is not a good deal, blah, 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 blah. But they had an opportunity 8 years ago to participate in it and fix it then. They did. They did participate. They put in stuff. They put in the ticking time bomb that after 2 years, the insurance companies would have the ability to raise the rates or pull out or do whatever they wanted to do and take the advantage of the policyholders. Because they never wanted this in place because they're bought and paid for by the insurance industry. So let's just be clear on that. Number two, they got what they wanted. Then they turned it into a negative against the president, President Barack Obama. And they scarred and tarred and made this Health Care Act a horrible thing. And a lot of uninformed people bought into the idea, the concept of it being horrible. It's not perfect. It could be tweaked and fixed and made better.
It needs to be, because a lot of people can't even afford insurance.
Of course, but that's because the insurance companies were allowed to increase the freaking rates.
Oh, they tripled.
Oh, yeah. And that's by design to destroy it so they can go back and do what they were doing before, deny you the right to have insurance at any cost. They don't want you to have the ability with a pre-existing condition. They don't want that because it costs them more. It cuts into their margin of profit. But insurance companies don't lose money. They don't. It's like going to the casino. Casinos don't lose money. The odds are against you.
And the casinos, they have those things set up.
Of course they do.
Like people psychologically, if they see somebody win on a machine, Everybody waits for that person to move, and then they run over there. It's not going to come back out that machine.
That's right. You're going to get your ass handed to
you.
Because the machine's got to get its money back.
You can really psych people out. They all run over. Okay, I'm going to use that one.
That one just paid off. Yeah, well, you better leave it alone. Let some other suckers go there for a while and beat it up. But don't jump on that one. But going back, all right, so that was 8 years ago when the Affordable Care Act was passed. As whatever condition it was in, it was passed and it was put into place, and there are 25 million people on it right now. In 8 years, they're still trying to figure out a fix, a replacement? How dumb are these people? What have they been doing? Sleeping? No, they don't want to fix it. They just want it to go away. They don't have any good ideas. They could, but it would be in the best interest of the people. Well, they don't care about you.
Have you heard what some of them have said that are for it? If they can't afford it, what did Ryan say the other day? Chris, do you know? He said something that if people can't afford to pay for it, he made some nasty remark. Yeah, basically. Yeah. And then another, that Kellyanne Ugly, she needs to go back and get her money back on that facelift. She made a comment that older people should be working.
Yeah, well, yeah, I hope you live long enough, honey, to find a new job.
Yeah, because she sure in the hell ain't going to get a husband with that face.
She ought to be. Is she not married? I thought she was married.
I don't know. He must be cheating then.
Damn.
He would have to be.
She's pretty disgusting. I don't, she's hard to look at as far as I'm concerned.
It isn't even just that. She's an idiot.
She's smart. She knows how to filibuster and not answer a damn question. So she learned that from somebody, and she's real good at that. And she angers me so much when she goes through that. And some of the commentators, people that have her on the shows, they really try to pin her down. And what I would do, if she didn't answer my question direct with a yes or no, if it was a yes-no answer, I would say to her, Kellyanne, it's obvious that you want to sit here and further your agenda and not answer the damn question so the people can be better informed as to what your position really is. Thank you for being here. You will never come back to the show again. Goodbye. And I would tell them to turn her damn mic off and cut her off the damn screen. Why do you keep bringing idiots like that on your show to allow them to further advance their bullshit and lie to people and get people confused? They know exactly what they're doing. They want to further advance what they want you to think, what they want you to hear, and that's it. They're selling their agenda. Don't give them the platform. Don't put a microphone in front of them. Don't put a camera in front of them. Why do you think the White House press corps didn't want to do any more mic and camera stuff? Because they don't want you to ask tough questions and the public can see and hear it. It's control, folks. What part of that don't you guys understand? And you need to call your senators and House of Representatives, your governors, your mayors, and tell everybody that you voted for that this is some bovine excrement and I'm not standing for it. And if you don't stand up and get some backbone and make these clowns stop, I'm not voting for you anymore. You'll be out. Goodbye. Don't even ask for a response. Make your statement. Make them hear your voice and hang the freak up. That's what you need to do. Flood the phones, blow up their fax machines, blow out the email servers, text the hell out of them, flood their Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts. If they've got the balls to have a open forum where you can come in front of them in person and ask questions, ask the tough questions. Don't let them get away. You hired these people. You voted for them. You put them in office. They are responsible to you. Don't let them get away with it. If they do, it's your fault. Don't come crying to the Lee Michaels show and say, oh, they did this terrible thing. Because you were sleeping at the wheel, because you didn't stand up. You were not paying attention to what they were voting on. You allowed them to push it through in the middle of the night. You can't let them do it. Now, I'm not talking about overturning the government, but this is for the people and by the people. And these people are not for the people. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
So y'all just need to get going, because otherwise I'm going to keep saying the same thing every damn day until you get it. November 6, 2018, change the game. Change your game, November 6, 2018, period. Drill it into your head. Write it down into your calendar. Make sure everybody that's around you, your family members, co-workers, everybody knows that date. Make sure that you're registered to vote. And double check to make sure that you are on the roll. 30 days, 60 days before the election, contact your Secretary of State's office and make sure that you are registered. And maybe even 30 days before. And if you get to the poll and you find out that you're not registered, that you're not on the roll, raise holy hell. They have to give you a provisional ballot, but not all of those ballots are ever counted. So you don't want a provisional. You want a real ballot that goes into that machine and gets counted, hopefully. But are we certain that even those ballots that go into the machine are counted? You know, if the Russians can hack into the system, maybe they were deleted as well. That's why it's so important, folks, for this investigation to move forward. Continue to investigate. Go deep. If you have to get in a submarine and go so low to find out the truth, then that's what we need to do. And if by chance they find out that this was a tampered election, then it needs to be deleted and we need a new election. We cannot claim to be great as a country. We cannot go to third world countries and other countries that need our help in setting up voting systems if we can't get it right. If we can't get it right, how can we teach somebody else to do it? How can we tell somebody else how to do it? We can't. We have to be perfect at it. And I know that might be a little pressure, but it really shouldn't be. If America is to be respected and viewed as great, then we have to do everything on that level. Certainly, our election process needs to be perfect. Can't be tampered with. Can't be manipulated. If that is the fact, if that's the way it's been, if that's the way it's going to be, then you know what? We're about to become a third world country. Is that what you want? I don't think so. But if you don't do something, that's what it's going to be. Where's Alpha? I'm surprised he hasn't chimed in yet, because when I go on my rants, he likes to come in and try to tell me I'm crazy.
Oh, you'll never make it. Oh, man. Well,
did he come on yesterday, Chris?
No.
Well, no. I did that solo yesterday.
Yeah. He was riding bareback.
I'm sure if he's not having a cheeseburger, he's having an old man nap. And he'll awaken and then join the program. He'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you mentioned earlier in the conversation about the press secretaries and the White House non-media having audio only and not visual. I want to commend journalist Brian Kareem. This was the one who went after White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders during a news brief and was saying pretty much that he didn't like bullying. This was an exchange that he had with her. Quote, "I don't like bullies." This is what he's saying. "I don't like the entire situation of the press and free speech being castigated for no reason. Then we either get stories wrong, which happens, and it should be either responsibly corrected, or because we report the news the president doesn't like, which seems to happen even more often than getting stories wrong." Now, Kareem is executive editor of 2 Maryland newspapers and wrote a column explaining his outburst this past Tuesday about the briefing. And I saw it on television, and he needs to be commended because we have to hold their feet to the fire because they make all these mistakes and then get mad when you ask them questions, which is juvenile. Like, for those of you who have remembered this before back in the day, when Ronald Reagan was in office, one of my favorite reporters from the White House, ABC, Sam Donaldson. And Sam always kept the president, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President. Now, people see it as some sort of bugging, but it kept the president sharp, quote unquote, because he never tried to dodge him. If he did, Sam Donaldson will call him on it.
That's right.
And I think now, more than ever, right there in the press, we need more Sam Donaldsons. I commend Brian Kareem for what he did. It was great.
I agree. And listen, that's what the press is supposed to do. Okay? They're supposed to keep our government in check. If the press, the free press, cannot ask tough questions and get straight answers, then our system has failed. And our government is trying to overrun our constitutional rights.
That's right.
And that's not the way it's supposed to work. And we can't allow them to do that. If it was reversed, if these were Democrats doing this, do you know how much holy hell would be going on right now?
Oh, please. Yeah.
And I would appeal to every Democrat around the country, whether you're at the federal level or state level, you need to be outraged. You know, just having a photo op out on the stairs at the Capitol is not good enough. That's okay. It's a sign of solidarity. But what else are you doing? I don't feel the earthquake. I don't hear the rumble in the jungle. I want to hear something. I want to feel something. I want to see something. Stand up. Get some kahunas. Push back. Fight. Call them out. If you don't, then you must be a part of the problem. You have quietly co-signed on the bovine.
Oh, hey, that's a T-shirt, man.
You like that one?
I like that, yeah.
Don't co-sign on the bovine.
Yeah, hashtag that, man.
Hashtag. Yeah, that was a good one. Don't co-sign the bovine.
Yeah, don't co-sign on the bovine. Now, you a poet and don't know it, man. Look at you.
But come on, man. Everybody should call their congressional member, House or Senate, and say, look, what are you doing over there? Why aren't you fighting for the people?
Didn't Laura put up something on her Facebook telling people where to call?
Yeah, I saw that.
But she doesn't have a share on it because I wanted to share that.
Well, you can share it. Just go.
I'm not technical like you.
Just hit the share button.
Yeah, it wasn't on there.
Really?
I didn't see a share button. That's what I just said.
You're on that.
There wasn't a share button on my page.
Really?
No.
It was on your page and you couldn't.
It was on. She's on my page, so I seen it, but I didn't see a share button.
Let me go see if I can.
Well, I didn't see one. Maybe it's
Okay.
on yours, but I didn't.
Were you
see
on
one.
her page or your page? Did she
She
share
comes. She comes in on mine because.
Okay, but did she share it to
She
your
doesn't
page?
have to share things to me. If she posts something, I see it.
Okay. But look on your page to see if it's there.
No, I told you what I seen. You know, he thinks I'm really dumb.
No, I didn't say you were dumb. I was again. You're sounding like Kellyanne. I'm not. Your reply is not responding to my question.
I replied to you. I told you there wasn't a share button when I seen it.
But where did you see it? Was it on your
I
page
seen it
or
when
her
she
page?
comes up. If she posts something, I see it on my page. If
Okay.
I'm in my thing at the time.
Okay. All right. And let me go. I'm going to go to your page and see if it's there. I'm not calling you.
You
dumb,
know, I
Carol.
couldn't be married to Lee because we'd be killing each other.
No, we wouldn't.
Because anything he wants an argument with it.
No.
But I don't know. Did you see it, Chris? She gave a
her
number
information,
to
yeah.
call
She did.
and
Yeah, I
leave
caught
your
that.
stuff
fact,
in.
when
But
was-
I didn't have a share where I seen it at. And I didn't go to, I seen it when it came up.
Yeah, when I was on Facebook Live yesterday, she posted this.
Yeah, because then it came up
on the
again
Facebook
today.
Live timeline.
She posted it on your timeline.
Right, on my timeline,
Right,
correct. When I was
okay.
doing the show.
Right. So theoretically, you should be able to go to your timeline and share it from there to your own page. Isn't that how it works?
No, because she didn't post it to my page.
No, that's what I'm. See, you're not.
I
hearing me.
seen it when she put it up.
On
who's on first?
On her page.
Nobody. No, it's on Chris's page. So you have to go to his page.
I
to share
didn't
it
go
to
on
your
Chris's
page.
page when I seen it. It came up from something she posted.
Right.
It came up again this morning.
So but you follow her. So every time she does a post or response, you will get that.
You know what? Let it go.
No, I'm not going to let it go. I'm trying to explain something to
No,
you.
it wasn't a share button where I seen it. So that's what I'm saying to you. There wasn't a share button.
Okay, I'm trying to tell you how to get to the
But
share
I'm not going to worry about that. It's
well,
over.
Why are you talking about it?
I'm not. You always have to go look something up.
I was just trying to tell you.
You know what he reminds me of? Have you seen these people nowadays? Every time you go to tell them something, well, wait a minute. I don't think you're right. They'll pull
I'm
out.
trying to help you.
They'll pull out Google. I know 2 people that do that.
I'm trying to
They
help
Google
you.
everything, and I go, well, Google isn't always right.
I'm not Googling shit. I'm trying to tell you how to get to the
But you
damn
don't have
post.
to. It's okay.
We're talking Facebook here. Oh, my yay. All right, I'm going to go to Chris's page.
Now, to Laura's credit, when she did post it yesterday on my timeline, she did say at the very end to cut, paste, and pass along.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it'll cut and paste.
Right. Okay. Okay, I think I got your thing. Yeah, 10 a.m. yesterday. And all you have to do is hit the share button, and that whole broadcast would be on your page, including her comment. So it was a comment, right? That's right. Let me go to the comments here. I need a drink.
Need drinks, plural.
Drinks?
More than one.
And I don't drink. I need a drink. Somebody serve up
You
some
about
drinks
to.
here. Yeah, right. I'm about to become an alcoholic.
Alcoholic now.
I see a share button here.
I don't know why he's going on with this. I said what I seen. It wasn't a share button when I seen it. So it doesn't matter what he finds. It's what I seen.
Okay.
When I seen it, there wasn't a share button.
Right.
A lot of stuff will tell you have to copy it. I don't know how to do some of those things, and I don't care to know how to do it. I don't spend my whole day in Facebook.
Well, it sure looks like it.
No, it really doesn't, because I have to work for a living.
I get a lot of stuff from you. You spend more time on it than I do.
When
I
I'm
know that.
sitting around and I have a break, yeah, I'll send something to you.
Yeah. I know.
Now, if you go to my page right now, I did cut and paste it. And I did thank Laura for it. That's the first time I saw it on my timeline. About the financial office you called to keep Americans requesting.
Yeah, give them the number.
About the health care. Yeah, the health. Well, thank you. I'll do that. The number is 202-224-4515. Again, in the financial office, the call for the health care bill is 202-224-4515. Go to Chris Bass on my Facebook page there, and it's already cut and pasted for you to check it out for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Now, why don't you create a new post just for that?
I just did.
Okay, you're the man. See, now we can easily go there and share that to our own page, and that'll be real simple, as opposed to going through all the comments from yesterday's broadcast. That will be highlighted on your page. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. I'm gonna do
Oh, man, not a problem. We're all here to help each other.
Except for Carol. I'm not trying to help her. I'm gonna leave her out there by herself.
Well, that's all right. Carol, Carol, you got to make money,
help.
So I mean that's more important.
I do. I have a sick daughter and things I have to be responsible for.
Well, we all have those responsibilities.
So I can't spend my time on a Facebook. A lot of times I go in because I look for stuff to talk about on the radio that might be happening out there.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff that happens.
And I'm going to make a comment. Thank you, Laura, for this info.
Lori puts a lot of great stuff up.
Yeah, she's good.
She does.
She does, yeah.
And that, because if you notice what Facebook does now, they don't always put something up where they post it to everybody on your page. They'll come in different times, because I've seen it twice now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you post, 100% of the people that follow you will not see it. And they do that by design because they want you to buy ads to reach more people. So if you have 50,000 people following you on Facebook and you do a post, maybe 10% of them will see it. And, if you want to reach more people, you got to spend $100 or whatever, $10 or $30, whatever you can afford, and then it'll go out to more people. And I understand that. It's about business. That's how they, it's part of one of the ways that they monetize this whole Facebook community thing. But it would be nice to be able to reach more people. I mean, you work hard to build up your followers. It would be kind of nice if they gave you more than maybe 10%. And I'm not sure you're even reaching that many. So build up your followers, but then also go to other pages and post it, and maybe groups.
Well, a lot of people get mad when you post something on their page.
Well, then they can fix that.
But now I don't think they can post it so easily, because if you look at Facebook, it'll say you have 10 posts pending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you can turn that off so that people cannot post directly to it.
It tells you that it's pending, so they can't. It doesn't come to yours. Sometimes I don't like people to add me to stuff. I get added to a lot of Michael Jackson stuff.
Well, that's understandable, because you had a long-standing working relationship with him, so people, that know that probably want you to know what they're posting. And that's how you get it around. I get tagged in posts that I have nothing to do with. And there's another Lee Michaels who is a broadcaster in Baltimore. And I get tagged, and they really mean to tag him, and they're tagging me. And it's usually related to some gospel programming or a new song or something, because he programs, inspirational gospel music. And I always go in there and tell him, say, you got the wrong Lee. You need to contact the one in Baltimore. And, okay, I thought, I'm sorry. I said, no problem. I get it. It's okay. But I want you to, get your message to the right person, because I can't add your record. I don't do that.
Right.
So I'm just trying to make sure you get to the right Lee Michaels that does the gospel programming. So anybody that's listening to me, I'm not that guy. Is it WCAO, I think is the call letters of the station that he programs? Nice guy. I think he might even be a reverend now. He might be a minister. So if you see Reverend Lee Michaels, that's not me. That's not me. You don't want me to go up in the church.
You're not a pastor?
No. You don't.
I'm sorry, Reverend.
No. I'm not that guy. You don't want.
You're not the right Reverend Lee Michaels?
No. I'm not that guy. I'm not that. I don't want the church to cave in on the congregation for me up there faking to be the preacher. That ain't good. Don't come to my church. If you see me up in the pulpit, call the police.
He'll probably be, if he was up in the pulpit, if you watch him when he's on radio, I was trying to tell him like you would tell a kid, when they're doing something. Put your phone down. Quit texting while you're on the phone on TV. Because everybody can see him texting.
Well, that's okay.
Not
I'm
really.
Communicating.
He told me I can't polish my nails when we're sitting
there. Well, that
there.
has nothing to do with the show.
And I'm not on camera.
Right. So why are you polishing your nails?
Because I'm not on camera, but I looked over at him, and he's just looking down, and he's texting. I go, I'm trying to tell him, put the phone down. I don't want to say what I wanted to say. Put the damn phone down.
But she came in
because he gets on me. He's taught me that part of being on radio is acting and going up against people. So he's taught me how to go up against you guys.
Now you
don't always take me serious, please.
You're like a mad bulldog.
Now I got to ask a question, because maybe you two can answer this. I live in a pretty big complex, which Lee will tell you. So yesterday I was babysitting Josefa's granddaughter. I picked her up from camp, which was quite cute because they made dresses or whatever. And they were making them out of newspaper, and they had them so it's Fashion Week, I guess, for them. I found it very interesting watching the kids. One group of kids took garbage bags, and they did make quite a cute dress, but Bella's group were all the little ones. They were probably all under the age of maybe 9.
Okay.
And then there was the middle group. So they go, we want you to be a judge. And I thought, well, this is kind of hard because how can I sit here and judge these 3 groups of kids? And then Heather next door was a judge. So I said to the lady, I go, can there be a triple tie? She said, no, absolutely not.
So okay.
So Heather came and I let Heather basically do it. I didn't have the heart to do it.
To break the tie, huh?
Yeah, she picked the kids in the middle because their dress did have a lot of stuff they added to it. It was just kind of cute. But to make a long story short, I brought Bella to my house, and when I walked her up to the front when her mother came, I was coming back, and I'm just curious how you guys would take this. Now, I've been in two fires, one in Hollywood and one where I live now. So I have a really bad fear of fires. Lately, I've had nightmares because of that fire in London. So there's a security guard sitting out in front of the building I live in, and I said, why are you sitting there? And she said, I'm on fire watch. I said, what do you mean fire watch? Well, for this building, I'm on fire watch. I've got to watch all night to make sure a fire don't start. Now, wouldn't you take it that possibly there's something going on that they think we might have a fire in that building? That's how I took it.
Well, that's one thing. Yeah.
Okay, I'm telling you how I took it as a female. Let me finish. So I panicked when she said, yeah, they told me to smell for smoke. Now, earlier in the day, the fire doors were all shut. When our alarms go off, the fire doors shut.
Right.
So usually you could push them open and they stick to something because they're all controlled mechanically.
Yeah.
It wouldn't stick. So I called downstairs to the management. I say, I can't get the fire doors to stay open. She said, oh, they're working on the alarm because they're installing a new elevator and they got to put a whole new alarm system in. So what had happened is then I thought about that, but she didn't say things were going to be shut down and they were going to have a fire watch. I never heard of a fire watch in my life, so I panicked. I've been in a fire in that particular building, and I get very frightened because you have people that flip places. They'll buy a house or an apartment only to profit from it. So they'll buy it, they'll come in, they won't use professionals, which legally you should have to have a permit. Right. And that's how our fire started before. They did their own wiring. Plus, we had roofers at the same time that did not have insurance. They were not supposed to be roofing. So, of course, I panicked. So I went and knocked on 5 people's doors that I know. And they're older people. And I said, look, I don't know what's going on. They didn't know what a fire watch was either. They didn't bother to tell this young lady to tell the people that the fire alarms were shut off that go to the fire department. Because if our alarms go off, they go right to the fire department.
Right, okay.
They didn't tell this young lady that. So in her mind, there was something going on that possibly there was going to be a fire. Because earlier in the day, too, I was in the garage and I heard these 2 guys working on the electricity panels arguing about the wire, saying, no, that wire don't go there and this wire don't go there.
Okay.
So can you imagine why I panicked? I panicked. I'll admit it. The security guard that works at the front that should have told this girl this comes up screaming at me. Now, number one, she should not be screaming at me. I help pay her bill. I pay her. That comes from my homeowner's dues. She should not talk to me like that. She should have told this young lady, or they should have put papers by her door saying the alarms will be shut down tonight. So don't panic why we have a fire watch out there. Now, was I wrong to automatically being a female that's been in 2 fires now?
No.
To panic and get afraid?
Well, I think you should have been concerned.
Because then I asked you the other day about a ladder. So I didn't tell you I was having nightmares about fires.
Yeah, well, obviously, because of your experience in the past, you're traumatized, and that's understandable. I see several issues with what you just said. There should have been a memo out from the management to all of the residents saying that we're going to be working on the alarm system and the elevator system simultaneously. And during these hours or these days, the fire alarm system will be disconnected from the fire department. However, we will have individuals roaming around or, on alert or watching for any potential fire breakouts so that we can notify the fire department directly. Be patient. We think that everything's fine. Everything will be done in a day or two. We'll let you know when all of the systems are back in order. Well, something to that effect. I mean, I just pulled that off the top of my head, but I think that would maybe calm some of the concerns. And if you have any questions, contact the office. We're here 24/7 to assist you in any concerns that you might have.
So you understand me panicking?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I wouldn't panic, but I understand because you've been through a fire and you lost so much. I understand that that the mindset that you're in, and that's understandable.
So to have a woman come up, a security guard, why didn't she tell this young lady? The young lady was sent there. She'd never been there before to do a fire watch. Nobody explained to this young girl because she was even nervous.
So was she security or a resident?
She was sent from a security place where our security guards came from.
Ah.
Nobody told her. She said she had never been to our building, but she was there for a fire watch. So when I asked her what a fire watch, she said, "Oh, I'm here in case a fire starts." I said, "No, it was only at my building." So would that leave you wondering? I mean, it's scary to me. So it's like you said, I told them this too this morning. Why didn't you send out a memo? But to have this head security girl scream at me, you don't talk to me like that. Yeah, Number one,
that's inappropriate.
You work for me. Do not talk to me like that. I don't talk to them like that. I'm one of the people that never complains. If they do something wrong, I tell them. I don't go to management. And lately, she has been rude to people.
Well, you need to go to management. Don't sit there and argue.
I don't want her to lose her job. She has children.
Okay, but you have to go to the source that can bring a solution to the problem. I mean, sitting there arguing with her, obviously nothing is getting done because she continues to argue. So I don't want her to lose her job either, but she's got to do her job to keep her job.
She talked terrible to me. She talked to me when I told you I went to that senior citizen retirement place to do a client.
Right.
She talked to me the way those people were talking to those older people. I did not appreciate how she talked to me. I don't disrespect her. Don't disrespect me.
That's right.
And I felt that was very wrong. Now, if I had reported her, they would fire her. I don't want her fired. I've helped this girl out. She doesn't make a lot of money, and she was waiting something with Medicaid or something. She has severe asthma. Well, I have severe asthma. And when she found out, she asked me, do I have to use a nebulizer? I said, yes, I have a machine. I gave her a whole thing for her machine, and I gave her a brand new inhaler because she couldn't get it at the time. Something with her Medicaid, she was waiting on something.
Yeah.
Well, she could die waiting. So I gave her that. I bring these girls food.
Yep, I've seen you do that.
I go to places, I buy them food. I bring them cases of soda and water. So don't talk to me like that. I've never talked to her like that. Don't talk to me like that.
Have you?
Yeah, but I mean, see, here's the thing about that, and I commend you for your generosity and your heart when helping people. But some people don't want to be helped, and what I mean by that is they think that when the generosity happens to them, that it's supposed to happen, and it really is a blessing. Because, first of all, you did not have to do that for this young lady, and she has to realize that there should be a respect factor there just in general. Because if it was me and I'm helping you out going out of my way and you're talking back to me, have an attitude, then you got to go. I'm going to your manager. If I resorted to all, exerting, all type of resources, I tried to help you. Is the thanks I get? No. And not only that, on a professional level, you don't just come out and scream at people.
Oh, she was screaming at me.
Oh, hell no, she got to go.
See, the last time we had a fire in there, Chris, we had an older person die. When the fire happened, it was on my floor. And they knocked on doors, but they didn't knock on her door. That woman died 6 months later. We were out a whole year. We should have been out 3 months. I could have sued that complex. I had to take out a $100,000 loan because I ran out of insurance money. I would have had my whole place paid off by now. That woman died because there was smoke all through, and she was on the floor with me through that complex. And who's to say that smoke didn't cause a problem for that lady?
Yeah.
So, of course I'm a nervous person. We have a woman on the second floor. The daughter has to work. The mother is starting to get Alzheimer's. I have found her in the garage wandering around, her mother, not knowing where she's at, what to do. I've taken her by the arm, take her back up to where she lives, call her daughter and say, you got to get a caregiver. If she gets out of that complex, she could get run over. Anything could happen to this. So my first thoughts yesterday was to make sure somebody was in there with that older woman. I went to the older people that I know, their houses, because half of them can't hear.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm going to bang on their doors and let them know to be a little alert. But if they had set memos, because this one older lady, she's probably eventually going to have to go to a place because she doesn't remember anything now. It's getting worse and worse for her.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Yeah.
And it's scaring me. I watch out for her, and so do other people. I've told the daughter, you leave a key to somebody, because if there's ever something that goes down, an earthquake, anything, we got to be able to get your mother out of that apartment, get her out of there.
Right.
We had a transformer explode 6-7 months ago. Now, that started a fire in our garage. It's always my building. It was frightening.
Maybe you need to move to a different building, Carol.
I don't know. It's always our building. We had a roof leak that destroyed the other side. Their apartments were destroyed from this roof leaking. So
but
it's always our building.
Excuse me, folks. But the bottom line is your issue is really with the management.
Yeah, that we pay.
Yeah. You need to take all of your grievances directly to the management and voice your concerns with them. And then once they understand the problem, then it's incumbent upon them to go to the security company that they have hired and make them accountable for what they're supposed to be doing. So I would go directly to that management.
I talked to them this morning, and I said the least you should have did was put a memo out. I said, I've been in a fire. But see, they didn't know I was in another fire in Hollywood. They didn't know that.
They don't care.
Fires scare the shit out of me, you guys. I'm scared to death. This fire in London, I had a friend, which I didn't know, that lived in that building. And there's a lot more to that story than what we've read. There's a lot of people that burned to death in there, way more than they told you about. They don't even know how many people burned. There were people begging for people to help them get out that could not get out. There were people that called their parents and told them when the fire started, where towards the end they didn't hear from them again. There was one girl that sent a text to her parent and told them how much she loved her parents, but I'm going to go to heaven now. So I'll see you when you come. Can you imagine what it must feel like? So my biggest fear is, and I know you're all going to laugh, is I have 3 cats that are my kids to me. If I have something that's living and has a heartbeat, I look at that the same as I would a child. Those are my kids.
Sure.
So my first thing is, if there's a fire,
and
they're going to run and panic.
Of course.
I'm not going to be able to catch them. So
that's right.
That's all I asked yesterday is next time something's going to shut down, send out what he said, a piece of paper letting us know so Carol doesn't panic.
Yeah. And that's appropriate. I mean, you shouldn't feel, bad about going to your management there at the condo and saying that.
Oh, I
because
was
they
very
have a responsibility to notify people, especially when the safety of its residents are at stake. Okay, now, a lot of people, a lot of badly run management companies will ignore that responsibility.
They never ignore it. That's what kind of shook me.
Yeah.
We have a lady that lives below me. This lady can barely walk, and she's not old. She's young, but she's raised every grandkid because she's like me. She had kids very young, and she can hardly go down the stairs. We have no elevator right now. Legally, she could get them in trouble. If we have no elevator or something to get her out, they have to have a plan to help this woman down the stairs. We're talking a lady that, I don't know how many kids she's raised. She's an extremely smart woman. She basically runs UCLA. She's one of the big shots there. And because she's a minority, it's always her kids or mine when he was growing up that had to do something. I mean, I went out to dinner with this one, can I cuss? This one bitch that lives in our complex.
Sure.
She took me to, we went out, and she doesn't know that my father is mixed. So we're out, and all of a sudden she starts talking about minorities. And I looked at her and said, do you think I'm white or something? Well, aren't you? I said, no, I'm not. And even if I wasn't, I wouldn't want to hear how you're talking. Why do you think it's only the minority kids that do something in here? I said, what about that little white asshole that I caught trying to break into cars? They didn't do a thing to this kid. He turns out he grows up and becomes like a gangbanger. I think he went to jail and all that. But to make a long story short, why does it always have to be our minority kids that do things? I mean, they're always picking on this woman and her family. And it really irritates me because she's one of the nicest people you could ever meet. Yeah,
it's profiling and stereotyping.
I think I live in a complex with a bunch of Republicans, to be honest.
Could be.
And they're very expensive. These you couldn't move in here for less than maybe $500,000 now. So it's kind of sad how they always think it's got to be a minority kid that's doing something.
Yeah, that is the way it is. That's the way it's been, and I'm not sure that it's going to end.
No, it's not going to end. It's getting worse.
But I don't know. It's frustrating, to say the least. Very frustrating.
It's very frustrating. That's why this woman with this camp, I have to commend her on how well run that camp is. Just going over there yesterday and seeing how happy these kids are. She's really teaches these kids, like, I think Bella said next week they go to her house and they do cooking. Watching the lady, she loves what she's doing with these kids. So remember the pop-up store last year? I think more camps should be like this. I really do. You have to make a camp enjoyable. She's teaching these girls how to be young ladies and how to think about a career you might want in life. It's very well run. Like this week, it's designed. You should see the shirt. Did you see the shirt Bella designed?
No, I haven't seen it.
Asked her to show it to you.
Okay.
It was the best shirt there, to be honest.
Nice.
I thought, oh, great, this will be at the pop-up store. It wasn't going to be there. She took it home, and they made...
you said they made it out of newspaper?
No, they made... That was one thing they did yesterday. One kid used garbage bags. Bella's group used tinfoil. I have pictures of what they made. It was really interesting. We need more of this. We need more camps like this because every kid there had a smile. None of them were unhappy being there. And it was teaching them how to do things that a female is going to, because there's no boys at this camp.
Right.
How to learn things that are going to be useful that they no longer get in school. Like you used to get in school when you were a young lady, you would get charm school teaching you manners. You would have part of the year where you learned how to make beach bags or something you sewed. You had homemaking where you learned how to cook. She gives them all of this. Every week it's something different. So I have to tell people it's a great camp. It's a great camp.
You know, one of the electives that I had in high school, I think I might have been in the 10th grade or something.
Mechanics.
Well, we did mechanics. I did wood shop, metal shop, electric shop, and also did a home economics shop that taught us how to do things around the house. Sewing. I took a sewing class. I made a vest, and it was a paisley print. The liner inside.
Wow.
Of it. Yeah, it was sharp.
They don't get this now, though,
No,
Lee. They have to pay for it.
Had the buttons on it, the pockets, and the whole nine. It was cool in the gang.
And remember mechanics, the boys? Well, girls could take it if they want.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows how to change a tire now.
I know. It's.
They don't know how to unhook a battery.
No, you're right about that.
They don't learn
They don't know
none
how
of
to
this.
check the oil in your car.
Yeah, and they want to take
Put it in
more from these kids from school. That's one of the things he wants to do is take a bunch of the money that's funded to schools.
Yeah.
Nowadays in schools, teachers will go out and buy a lot of art stuff for the kids.
Yeah, they have to do it
Yeah.
because especially the public schools, the schools don't have the budget to buy school supplies, so the teachers in many cases
They do it.
go in their pockets and do it. And the teachers are not paid that well.
They don't
No.
get music any longer. You don't hear about choirs at schools.
Yeah, band.
Yeah, isn't that kind of sad?
Yeah.
Well, you're taking away other extracurricular activities that children get into. Not everybody's going to get into sports. Not everybody's going to get into this. Everybody has different things to get into, and that's what made it so great. You have different things, whether it's chess clubs and things like that. Everybody has a different interest, and I think that schools provided that. When you take those seem to be small, but really they're very big contributions to our children,
Right.
and helping in the growing process. You take that away, the options become slim to none and slim left town to probably no options at all. And that's not really right. In fact, it's not right at all, because once again, the conversation here on this program, not everybody is meant to go to college. It's not a slant. It's just some people are not college material or can't go. So you provide them a trade, so that way they get some sort of compensation, get paid, get a job when they're in high school, and realize, you know what, maybe I want to be a chef.
Right.
Maybe I do want to work on cars. Take away that ability, and what do you have left? Nothing, probably just the streets, or wherever you live in, whatever community you live in, you have no option to really do anything outside if you're not college material, and that's just a waste.
It is a waste because, the schools and the parents even are not getting deep inside of the child's mind to find out what they have a passion for. You may say, well, I want you to go to college and be an engineer or an accountant or whatever. And maybe that child just doesn't, they don't give a damn about that.
Why do parents want to pick what a child? It's like my son. He went to a top prep school. Not that I paid for it. I'm one of these people. I know how to go after financial aids and scholarships, and I managed to get him. He could have went to Andover, all the top prep schools. I went after that stuff. I looked for every organization to get him in there. But when it came time, when he was graduating high school, he said they were the worst counselors to tell them, to talk to them and tell them where to apply.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But see, and it's good that you took charge and investigated, but a lot of parents don't do that. They don't know that these programs or opportunities are out there. So there's a job right there. If you are an expert at finding good resources for funding for kids to get into colleges, that's a job. You could be a consultant to parents and to students.
Oh, I did help parents. There were many parents. Yeah. I mean, I taught my son so well that when he went to the YMCA and they do youth in government that the Y offers, I mean, they take over the whole government for 1 week. They go out to where our capital is, and one becomes the governor. My son was on the press scene because that's what he was good at. My son applied for financial aid on that, and he did it himself as a very young kid because they go away almost every weekend. They stay at camps and they learn stuff. And if you don't have money and you don't teach your kid or you don't apply for these things, they don't get to go. My son literally went in and he got everything for free. So it proves that if somebody works with kids, when he went to apply to colleges, and you know how you sit at the high schools and the people from the colleges come out? And they went around the room and they asked us, and I said, well, my son did youth and government, and he did a thing called Better Chance, and there's Alliance, College Bound. All these parents, these people that were here from the schools knew what youth and government was. All these parents were standing up to go, well, what is it? And I explained to them, and then they said, this is very good to get your kids in college to have this. Also, my son did community service from the time he hit middle school. You start putting them in it. You get them where they can get a major award for that, which he did. So if you do all this, you can help get your kids in college. My son probably owes all of $3,000 in debt for colleges.
That's amazing.
So I tell parents, and it's like Bella's out of age. I don't know if she's in 5th grade now, but if she goes and gets put in Better Chance, they will help her get in your top prep schools, which can help you out in the end. It's helped my son because he went to school with kids where their people are the top people in the movie industry and all that type of stuff. The kid that does Snapchat, he went to school with. Now, this kid wasn't super rich. His parents were lawyers, but he's a billionaire now, this kid. There's another kid that when you go to school with these type of people, later on in life, like my son just shot for Julia Roth's father, who's one of the biggest producers around. He just shot his new wife's whole line of clothing because of Julia. So it's
about relationships.
Yeah, it's like, pat me on the back, because nowadays, if you don't know somebody and you don't go after these things, it's not going to happen. My son has to work his ass off to get these jobs. He hits record companies, and they think Sky helped him. Sky never helped him. I have taught my kids how to hustle. You don't hustle, they're not going to hand it to you. And any race, I don't care what race you are, he's got to work a lot harder than a lot of races because he's not white, and he knows this.
Well, that's true.
And I've thought about helping kids out. I have helped kids out.
Well, for those listeners out there, viewers that have this skill that
Alliance is everywhere, parents. Better Chance, Alliance, College Bound is everywhere. Go in and research these things. You'd be surprised how you can help your child.
There you go.
They have to be willing, like Asian kids. People don't realize Asian kids go to school on Saturday. So how does it hurt your child if once a month he's got to go to College Bound or he's got to go to Better Chance? It doesn't hurt your child. Or get in youth and government.
Get you better prepared for the future and open up.
Yeah, because it's going to get very rough. It's going to get worse.
The one thing I've learned in my life, relationships are so very important. So if you go to school, you meet someone, you guys get along great in school and college or whatever, or even high school, or at work. If you're working in a corporation right now, small company, large company, build relationships with the people that you're working with, because those relationships, you never know where you're going to be, and you never know where they're going to be. I was at the Chevy car dealership last week, and I was sitting there in the little area where you pay your bill, and I was waiting for my paperwork to come up, and the young man came in and shook the hand of some coworkers because he was leaving that day. It was his last day, and he was going around, and he shook the hand of every employee in the building to let them know that today's my last day. I'm going to another dealership out in wherever it was. It might have been the Valley or whatever. And I was saying, wow. He says, and I wanted to say goodbye to you because you never know, our path may cross again. And it brought a smile on my face.
Yeah, that's all right.
And I said, yeah, this guy's smart. He gets it. He says, it's a small world. You never know. Our paths may cross again. I hope I did a good job working with you. And he was one of the mechanics. So he was going off to a new job, and he shook the hand. And I said to him as he was walking out the door, I said, you're a smart guy. Keep up the good work. You're doing the right thing. He turned around to me, and he shook his head, said, thank you. What did he say? Thank you, boss. You know that you're an old man when they start calling you boss, okay?
What's that, a boss
No,
or
I hate
chief?
it when they say ma'am.
Ma'am, you don't like that?
No, I don't. Maybe down south it is a word they use, but California, you know, I don't like that.
Well, you got
But
people
then a
from
lot
all
of
over.
kids are taught to say that, ma'am and sir.
Yeah, but you wouldn't cuss
My
somebody
kids
out.
were.
They called you ma'am, right?
Well, to me, it's always like, I don't know.
Is it a negative?
It's not negative. I just don't. It's like people say, well, what do your grandkids call you? I said, they all call me mom. I never told them to,
Yeah, but a
but
stranger
they've
won't
always
call
heard
you
everybody
mom.
say mom to me.
Right. Well, somebody that doesn't know you, like Chris just said, they wouldn't call you mom because they don't know that that's,
Yeah,
It's out of respect. No,
Yeah.
no, I was cussed out for calling a lady ma'am one time.
Really?
Really? No, really.
Did the
I was going
woman
to the
cuss
store.
you out?
Yeah, because I called her ma'am.
Yeah, a lot of women
were-
don't like to be called ma'am.
Yeah, but it doesn't deserve a cuss out. I
No,
didn't
it
call you
doesn't.
bitch.
That was
I
very
called you
wrong.
ma'am.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And just, don't get me wrong. I don't know the woman from Adam's off ox. It was the fact that she tripped over my foot trying to hurry to get to the next line. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. I said, don't worry about it, ma'am. What the hell you call me? I'm like, ma'am?
She was
Why you call
offended
me
by that.
ma'am for? Because you're a female. I'm trying to. And she proceeded to say, look, next time, mind my own business. Don't call me ma'am. I'm not that old. And,
No, she's
just
got
whatever
issues.
choice words.
Yeah.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
Some people have issues, and she's
Yes.
got issues. If she took issue with you calling her ma'am because she thinks that you're calling her old, you know what? You need to go get some help because that's bovine, man. Come on. That doesn't mean that.
Right.
At least where I'm from, my mother and father taught me to say that, and my kids were taught to say that out of respect to an adult.
Thank
That's
you.
what it means. It's respect, showing respect to an adult. Thank
It
you,
is.
sir.
That's
Thank you,
the way we're
ma'am.
taught that.
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's not anything beyond that. And I remember my kids growing up, and their mom would force them, remind them, hey, what did you say? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
And weren't you
Happened to-
taught to,
happened
if
to
you
me
walk in
twice.
front of somebody, to say, excuse me?
Absolutely.
I
Oh, of
still
course,
do
yeah.
that to this day.
I held a door for a lady the other day going into a grocery store, and she was older than me. So, I mean, it's out of respect. I've held doors for men. It's out of respect. I was over at Sprouts the other day, and a man who was younger than me, I would guess, and I thought maybe it was his son, and we all got to the door at the same time. I grabbed the door, held the door open, and he said, no, you go first. I said, no. No, it was a little girl. He was with his daughter. I said, no, ladies first. And he looked at me, he goes, you're absolutely right. Thank you for reminding me. And they went on.
I taught my son that at a very young age. And
Yeah.
he used to get mad because he said his friends don't. And one day we were going to Fox Hill Mall, and there was an older lady, and he held the door open.
Yeah.
And she looked at him. She said, you know what? It's so nice to see a young gentleman.
Yeah, exactly.
After that, he really appreciated it, because I hate it when you go to get in an elevator and a man pushes you out of the way because he wants in first. He's afraid he can't get in.
I mean, what's the big rush, folks? I mean, who gets through the door first? Are they going to get to the gold before you? Are they giving away gold and silver and diamonds and you're rushing in there to get it? What is this, a doorbuster? Really? You're in that big of a hurry that you forget common respect and, just saying hello, good morning, how you doing? When people get into my car, when I'm doing my Lyft rides, I always say, good morning, good afternoon, how you doing, how's your day going?
He doesn't open my door, though.
I have.
No, you haven't.
Well, that's because you were
When
running
When you
like,
first
here
met
we
me,
go.
maybe.
Gee whiz. Oh, Lord. Should I turn her mic off or what?
No, actually, Lee is a very nice person. I mean, how many people are going to jump in their car? How long did we drive? Was it an hour and a half, 2 hours
Hour
to get
and a half,
there?
yeah.
To get to this place. We sat out there. When we got out of the car, what was it like? We walked in
Oh,
an
it was
oven.
100 and some degrees. It was hot in hell.
2 hours to
Ooh-wee.
get back.
Yeah.
And we all stayed very mellow.
Yeah. That's right.
Now, how many friends would do that for somebody?
No, not many.
I
got-
would, but I don't like driving distance. But
Yeah.
I would have had to say, no, I can't do it.
Hey, Alpha, welcome to the show. What's up, buddy?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I was sitting here listening, and you all never seem to disappoint me. Lee, you told a fantastic, just an incredible tale. There was a woman older than you. I don't understand that.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What part of that don't you understand? What are you saying? What are you trying to say, sir, out of respect?
There is nothing older than you. Carol, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm great.
And Chris, how you doing?
Not too shabby. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
No, I'm not a mean guy, but I would probably disconnect your oxygen behind that one.
Oh, not to worry. I have a portable one for just such an occasion.
I can't understand though, Chris. Why would somebody go off on you for calling them man? For you saying
because she was confused.
Because they're stupid and
really
old.
Wrong. Women, for some reason, do not like to be called that. I don't know what it is.
No, that happened to me twice.
I can't explain it myself.
That's like
it happened to me twice. Yeah, I'm sorry, real quick. It happened to me twice. Once with a woman and once with a man. When I called him sir, he got pissed off at me. That happened to me 2 times in my life.
Wow.
I
don't get
nice.
it.
Yeah,
it's not. I wish them both well in hell, to be honest with you.
I don't understand. I've run into this more with women than men.
Well, even
especially
with kids,
grandmothers.
They don't say thank you any longer.
Especially grandmothers, they don't want to be called grandmother, grandma, or whatever in public, or even not in public. They want their kids to call them some other weird name.
I have never told my grandkids to not call me grandma. They just, if you pay attention, I basically raised 2 of my grandkids.
Yeah. And they call you mom.
I was mom to them.
Right. But I don't understand why people trip on not wanting to be called a grandma because they're afraid or they have the stigma of getting grandmothers. Typically, the image maybe from some of the newer, younger women is this old, decrepit
See, that never
woman.
bothered me because I've never been called grandma, but because I had kids so young that people my age were just having kids when I was a grandmother. I remember my one grandson looking at me one day and he said, how are you my grandma? You have teeth and your hair's not gray and you don't have, and I started laughing. He was couldn't figure out why I didn't have blue hair or whatever.
It didn't take long for this to go off the rails,
And it's funny, I get along with kids better than adults.
Yeah.
Kids like me.
Yeah.
Because I know how to sit with a kid.
And you have candy in your purse.
No, I don't ever have candy. Like Bella yesterday, first thing I said, where do you want to eat? Now, I already told her we're not going to no In-N-Out. She said, can we go to the Buffalo Wing place across the street? I said, sure. She said, well, are we driving? I said, no, we're not driving. It's across the street. She said, well, we always drive. I said, well, we're walking, honey.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So we walked, and then she seen Island. She said, hey, can we go there instead? I said, sure. We went in there, and, sometimes you have to let a kid
Where's Island?
take charge.
Is that over across the street?
Right across the street.
What kind of restaurant is that?
It's hamburgers, turkey burgers, fish tacos. It's actually it was good, because I don't eat like that usually.
Yeah, I've never been there.
And it wasn't expensive.
Yeah.
It probably ran me all of $14 maybe.
That's good.
So it was probably a lot cheaper than that chicken wing place was.
Yeah.
I've never been in one of those.
Yeah. You would have spent a little more.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny when she wanted to drive there. And actually, if we drove there because they're repairing that, it would have been a longer walk, walking from the parking place to the restaurant.
Absolutely. It would have been definitely more of a hassle.
So I kind of, when we got to the house, I let her take charge. What would you like to do? Can I watch Disney? I said, sure. Did she watch Disney? No. She put it on and she turned her iPad on and was watching some in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do. They multitask now. They do
but
two or
it
three
was
things
nice.
at the
It was
same
real
time.
pleasant with her.
Well, that's good. So, Alpha, what kind of mischief have you been in?
None really. None whatsoever. I plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth.
like always, Lee, I'm always messing with somebody.
I'm sure.
Even if it's just a little great grandbaby say in the house, you know. And I guess at some point I'll grow up, but I don't think so.
You don't want to?
Okay, not at all. I'm a shit starter.
No. I'm surprised you didn't call in earlier when I was beating up on the Republicans and Democrats.
Do you tease the grandchild?
I tease them. I threaten them. I push them. I care. And we're talking great grandchildren, not grandchildren. All my grandchildren are
young adults
up
now.
there.
Yeah.
Young adults, exactly.
Okay, so you can't pick on them no more because they'll slap you upside your head.
No. They ain't foolish. They ain't got out of pocket.
They know when to back up, huh?
You get your bluff in early. That's what my mama used to always say. And just like the little great grandbabies, I tease them so bad. I got 2 twins. They are boys, roughnecks, and they're about 18, 19 months.
They're roughnecks already?
Oh man, I'm telling them they come out of the room and they turn the corner and they headed towards me, and I'll put on the YouTube next episode music for them. You know, these boys is roughneck, and I literally tell them, "Come on here, I'll hit a little baby in their neck. Come on here." I'll kick you in your head. It's always something violent.
Oh,
and
no.
And to their sisters, the 4-year-old and the 6-year-old, when they come in, when they come in from school, I go, "How you doing? How was your day? You know what time it is? No, it's time to get beat up." Oh, God.
You're going to have child protection services at your house.
Oh, they love it. They get to that point where they come in and they expect it. Like all of my great-grandbabies in Des Moines and in Waterloo, Iowa. Mm-hmm. I tell them, "I'm busting you up." And when I say that to them, they get this big smile on their face, and they get so anxious and they run around. I think it's healthy for them.
Yeah. Well,
always face the threat.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. It's not a malicious,
right.
you know.
Right.
Well, that's
then
Kids are
when they
fun,
get there
as long as I
together.
can send them home.
Exactly. There you go, Carol. You got it. You hit the nail on the head. My job is to spoil the hell out of them.
That's right. Send them home.
And when the parents are about to enforce some martial law on them or some capital punishment, I'm like, "Don't you hit that boy? Don't you hit that girl?" One of them things.
Oh yeah, and then now the war is between you and the parents.
Okay.
Yeah, you are instigating troublemaking fool.
Shit starter.
Okay.
I
was trying to sugarcoat it a little bit.
Don't put no suit on it. You can't make this look good. You know what I do.
It's still a pig. You can put lipstick on it.
It's still a pig. It's still a pig.
Boy, you're bad.
I like to have fun. I like to tell people, you know, I mean, reality. That's what reality.
Right.
To me, that's what life is going to present them.
Right.
You either, and here's how it started. They would go off when they were a little younger. They was leaving the house, going on their way to school. Right. I know they're going to school.
Right.
And I would go, "Where you going?" "To school." I said, "I'm gonna cry." You know what they tell me?
What?
"Cry then."
Yeah, you've taught them how to respond to the old crazy dysfunctional great-grandfather. Yeah, they get it.
I hope they learn well.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. You know, you have built a relationship and expectations with them, and that's a good thing. You know, and they will forever remember all those little crazy things that you've done with them, forever.
Right. And you know, one thing I've always been able to establish with a child. I will play with you to the end, to no end. But when you hear the tone of my voice change,
yeah, you know
when
to fold.
You know it. Hey, Throw your cards in and go on about your business.
Time to moonwalk away.
That's it.
Because you're getting ready to get in trouble.
That's it.
I feel you. I understand. Well, that's good. You have a good relationship with your grandchildren. Now, Chris, you don't have grandchildren yet, right?
Thank God. No, I do not. No. No, not yet. No, I just have my two daughters. They're 27 and 24, and right now it's good enough for me.
I feel you. Yeah, I've got three grand.
Oh, sorry, you going? How many?
4. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4? 4 granddaughters.
And the new baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the 4th one. Yeah, 4 granddaughters from 16, and then 2 are 9, and then the new baby is what, 3, 4 months old now. So, and they're out of state. 2 are in Texas and 2 are in Vegas, so I don't get a chance to see them as much as I like to. And I think I'm gonna take a week off, and maybe a little more. Maybe I'll take 6 months off and go hang out with the granddaughters.
You don't Skype them, Lee?
No, I have Skyped the one in Texas, but I need to do that. And my son in Vegas, he has iPads and iPhones and all that stuff, so I could do a FaceTime with them there. But I need to do that. Maybe I'll put a thing in my calendar so I can have a better schedule of communicating with the girls.
You even put Skype on your phone, Lee.
Yeah, I know. I have it on my phone. Mm-hmm.
I found that facial contact means a great deal to them.
Yeah.
Means a great deal to them.
Well, with a face like yours, I'm not sure that's.
Well,
it might be a little scary.
You can't hurt my feelings.
So forget about it.
You can't hurt my feelings.
You got a face for radio?
Not for radio or television.
So neither one.
Neither one.
Yeah, it's good to have a relationship with the grandchildren. I mean, your children, of course, but grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I don't have any of that yet. I don't think I'm going to have any great-grandchildren anytime soon. The oldest granddaughter is 16, and she better not mess up. She's been doing really well in school and athletics.
That's good.
And she come up with a baby. I'm gonna, y'all gonna see me on CNN. So I'm gonna be raising plenty of him. Yep. Oh, Lee Michaels snapped. He's out in the woods hunting for some guy that got his granddaughter pregnant.
And not the Reverend Lee Michaels, the other Lee Michaels.
No, the devil himself, with camouflage gear on and high-powered scope rifle. That would be me. So if y'all thinking about it, forget about it.
And the only tracks you're leaving behind is where you're dragging that pointed tail.
That's right. That would be me. And I used to say the same thing about my daughter, Sarah Deanne. And I said, you know what, Sarah, you're going to be 45 before you get married. She said, no, Dad, no. Well, I'm just telling you. She used to be so afraid of me, killing her boyfriend or something like that. Yep. And she told me, she called me up and said, Dad, I'm thinking about getting married. I said, no, don't even think about it. No. I said no, and I mean it. Dad.
I said, don't do it.
She did it anyway. And I told her he wasn't the one. But, they got to learn. They got to bump their own heads. Stump their own toes and skin up some knees and
Didn't she learn
elbows.
from the best? How many divorces have you had?
See, why you always coming in.
Damn. Wait a minute, let's keep those punches up.
Doesn't he always say his 29 wives?
36.
36.
Let's keep those punches up, Carol. Why didn't you just wait till he stood up and hit him in the back of the knees with a stick?
That was worse than an uppercut to the chin.
Yeah.
That was a karate chop to the balls.
Shoot, that was like
my
down
voice went
goes
up 3
Michaels.
Whoa, wow.
Down goes Michaels.
Is he going to get up? Huh? They're giving him mouth to mouth. It's not Carol.
It's not Carol. She won't do it.
No, I ain't going to get no mouth to mouth from me.
She kicked him in the nuts and won't give him mouth to mouth.
He ain't getting up. He don't want to get up. Can't take another blow like that one.
They put a blanket over him right now. He's reading the newspaper.
Well, a lot of my friends babysit their grandkids.
Yeah.
I laugh because I've been already through that.
Yeah.
But they take them to school. I mean, they have their own little school at the house with them. And little kids are really smart with iPads and that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
These kids are our future.
Well, they used to say the same thing about our generation.
Yeah.
My mom said, well, how do you know how to work that radio so well? Well, that's all we got, Mom. So, it's not like there was no computers and shit around at the time. It was radio or television. So we figured out how to work them. And then when I figured out I could put a long antenna on the back of the radio, I could pick up stations in Chicago and Buffalo, New York, and Memphis, Tennessee, and shoot, I was messed up then.
Lee, did you have one of those cars with the antenna on the back that bent over to the front bumper?
Oh, yeah. CB radio? Hell yeah. Didn't have no car, but I had the CB radio in the house.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, God.
The neighbors were afraid that this big-ass antenna I had out there was going to cause problems with lightning, and I used to bleed into their radios and toasters and hearing aids and all kind of shit, man. I was a menace in the neighborhood. But
yeah, as a technical person, I would remember watching television and then some voice come over. Is that had anything to do with the digital and the...
No, it's called RF interference. Radio frequencies bleeding into...
RF?
Yeah, radio.
RF really fucked up?
Yeah, it would be if you were in the middle of your broadcast, your favorite news show or the Ed Sullivan Show, and then you hear my voice going in, CQ, this is W43592, CQ. Then, yeah, that you would be pissed off. Because I would take over the horizontal and the vertical of your TV, and you would not see Ed Sullivan. You would hear me. Okay? I would take out your TV.
Sullivan?
Well, whatever was on. Jack
I
Benny,
told you
Ed
nobody was older than Lee, didn't I? Nobody. Nobody.
I'm the oldest fool in the world. Still kicking. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. I used to destroy televisions and radios. You get into your AM radio, your FM, all up in it. I had the Federal Communications Commission come to my house twice to shut me down. I was a menace.
You a bad man.
I was a bad man. I was talking to a guy in San Juan, Puerto Rico one time, and the FCC knocked on the door because I was out of band. I was in a section of the radio frequencies I shouldn't have been. I was in between the 10-meter band and 11-meter band, and the atmospheric conditions were such that I could reach this guy. So we were sitting there having a conversation, and my nephew opened the door and let the Federal Communications Commission into the house. And I turn around, I'm looking at these four big white guys standing behind me going, what are you guys doing? How'd you get in? My nephew Kevin goes, I let him in, Uncle. I said, oh, man, why you let these guys in? Out of anybody in the world. And then they want to confiscate your equipment. And then I had to go down and talk to the commissioner. His name was Beebe, Commissioner Beebe. And I went down to his office, and he says, well, why were you doing that? Don't you know better? You didn't have a license for that frequency and blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, I know, man. I'm just a radio guy, And then he said, what do you mean you're a radio guy? I said, I'm a disc jockey on the radio. He goes, what station? I said, WNOR. This is in Norfolk, Virginia. And he says, you're a broadcaster? I said, yeah. And we started naming off people that we knew in the broadcast industry. He goes, look, I'm going to give you a warning. He said, but I could confiscate your equipment and put you in jail and all. He said, but you're one of our guys, I said, yeah, well, thank you, Commissioner Beebe. And he let me go. He said, well, look, you got to get rid of the equipment. He says, really, I should take it from you. I said, well, I know, what you going to do with it? He goes, well, I'll probably sell it and, I said, no. I'll take care of it. I promise you I won't do it again. So I sold it. Got rid of it. But I got away on that one.
Yeah, okay.
The first time, that was actually the second time. The first time, my license had expired, so they just made me, renew it and slap my hand. And I was like 17, 18 at that point. But yeah, man, I know all about it. But I was a menace in the neighborhood.
Fool.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would tear up your television. There's one lady, she said, look, I don't mind because I think it's kind of funny and interesting, and it's good that you're, being innovative and creative. You're not out in the streets doing some stupid stuff. But I forget what day it was. Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Can you just kind of be quiet so I can watch my favorite TV show? I said, yes, ma'am, no problem. She lived directly behind us. And her husband was a junior high school principal. And I was the school that I went to, Jay Cox Junior High School. So he was a principal. Now, everybody in the neighborhood basically all knew each other, all went to elementary school, junior high, high school. The high school principal lived on the same street down at the corner. Directly across the street from where I lived, the guy that owned the neighborhood grocery store, Mr. Faison, he lived there in the little store, which I worked at on the weekends growing up. So everybody knew everybody. The Abbotts, the Faisons, what was the lady's name? Miss Wallace, that lived directly next door to us. Everybody knew everybody. And you couldn't do something wrong and get home without the whole neighborhood knowing that you did something wrong. So it was like you were really raised by your community, your neighborhood. Everybody went to the same church. We could walk to church.
That's right.
So it was a small community, and everybody knew everybody. And directly on the other side of the Lafayette River was a white neighborhood. So it was a middle-class black neighborhood, and that's how we were raised. But we were raised to show respect to everyone, regardless of race or what part of town you were in. And I think that's a good foundation of being a good person. That's where you come from. And you go back to that neighborhood now, you might have to take your 6-shooter with you. It's kind of rough.
Automatic.
The crackheads have taken over. And that's what happens in a lot of cities around America. And in all my travels, I've seen it over and over again. The older people, the original people that were there when the neighborhood started, they die off, and their kids, some of them hang. Then they die off, and the grandchildren, they sell the house and get out of the neighborhood. And then, they tore down the projects, and, people scatter and go in different places. And that's what happens. And it's a cycle. It's, look at Cleveland, look at Detroit, look at parts of D.C. Every city in America has the same evolution, if you will. It evolves and changes. Now people in Detroit and Cleveland are moving back downtown. They used to be out in the suburbs. And it's high-rent district now. $1 million condos and old warehouses are now, turned into places where people live. And it's happening everywhere. And I notice here in the L.A. area where I live, just north of the LAX airport, they're building a number of apartment complexes, 2, 3, 4, 5-story buildings. Apartments are on fire out here because it's unaffordable to buy a house. Everything is so damn expensive. But these same apartments are, they start out at $2,000 and up. So I don't know how people can do it. I've always said here in L.A., even when I first came here back in 1975, I believe it was, I didn't understand how people made it because everything was expensive then, and certainly since then it's just outrageous now. Outrageous. Houses that were, $100,000 are now $800,000, $900,000, $1 million. So at some point, though, what my biggest fear has always been, there's got to be a ceiling that you're eventually going to hit. And that's going to cause the market to go nuts again.
What do you mean to drop?
Yeah. I mean, at some point, people won't be able to afford the payments on these houses. Just like the last housing
but now
crash.
It's not so easy to get a loan to get the house.
Yeah.
Used to be easy. Used to be they didn't even pay attention to your taxes.
Right.
That's why there was such a problem with
Yeah.
all these houses that went in foreclosures.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah, a lot
you
of
sell
no-doc
somebody
loans.
a $500,000 home, and they're making $40,000-$50,000 a year, which they
Yeah.
got in trouble over that. But now that they're taking away, what's that law they have? Elful, you know, Roe versus, you know,
Wade.
the one they want to take away where they don't have to disclose stuff to you now. It was a law that was put in when you have a credit card or anything. They had to disclose if interest went up on stuff. What is that called?
Oh no, I don't remember the name of it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
trying to take that away where they
But
can
Carol,
do that to
that's
people again.
that's wandering down the same road where they're passing laws where, I mean, it makes no sense. It's illegal to collect rainwater. they've passed in 39 states it's illegal to collect rainwater. You tell me how sensible that is.
You know why?
when
Because they want to control that next.
Well,
exactly.
Yeah, they want you to
Exactly.
buy
In a
And they're
water.
saying-
roundabout way, out here, you can't drink from the tap. We have to buy bottled water, huh?
Well, you don't want to drink from the tap. I wouldn't.
Well, if you boil it,
yeah, I
but
ain't
you're
going
still
through
not
all that
Well-
going to drink it.
unless I have
Well,
to.
if you boil it, have you? What about like a filter, pure filter, Brita filter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could put those on your refrigerator.
Okay, there is what's the name has it called? Target sells it. Well, a lot of people sell it now. It's called Zero Water,
Yeah, I've seen it. I've not
Zero.
tried it.
and that's supposed to be the top shelf, the Cadillac of water filtering.
Okay. But you know
And,
what, man? I got to tell you, when you look at your sink or your toilet and you see these rings around your sink or toilet that you can't get rid of, especially in the toilets, the calcium buildup or whatever that is.
Right. It's
You know,
calcium.
you can't even scrape it off. And you want me
Well-
to drink it? No.
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 You-
No.
What,
I can't do it.
what you do to get that off, Lee, is that CLR.
Yeah, right.
I pour hot water down
Yep.
in the toilet to take the water level down.
Okay.
Then I put a little CLR in there overnight.
Okay.
The water, the stains that be they brown or whatever that are coming from the ports where the toilet flushes, you have to actually really treat those with like the CLR
Right.
at a bigger strength.
Right, exactly.
But these people are passing laws. It's illegal to. They're passing laws that make it harder to install solar panels and wind turbines. The fossil fuel industry, and this is what people don't really not get. They get it, but everybody is not a priority. You have the fossil fuel industry and the leaders of the fossil fuel industry absolutely premeditatively going out to corral and spare their industries, just like the NRA did. You can't keep stats and investigate gun deaths. What is that? That's to protect their industry.
Absolutely.
You can't sue the gun manufacturers like you sue tobacco. Why? And
Special
you pay
interest.
off enough people to pass that law.
That's right. That's why I keep telling people, November 6, 2018, you want to bring about change? Get rid of all these congressional members that's not serving your best interests. Now, you could very well say, well, the real gun nuts, they say, well, yeah, I like Mitch McConnell and those guys because they're looking out for my rights to have my guns, to keep my guns. Well, nobody's trying to take your freaking guns away. Okay, but we just want to make sure that you don't become a nutball whack job and start going out shooting people.
But Lee, what is the first thing they say when they start talking about better legislation? They should legislate guns like they do cars, just like they do cars. But what's the first argument? They're going to take your gun away.
Absolutely, that's the narrative.
And see, that's what's so disingenuous about their argument.
Right. There's 350 million guns that we know of in the United States. There's more guns than there are people in the United States.
Exactly.
So people like Andre Eglishen, that probably has 25 freaking guns, 16 bow and arrows, 32 Jim Bowie knives, and hand grenades and everything else. He has an arsenal, handguns, rifles, but he's a hunter. Now, unless he gets stupid drunk, and he'll probably pass out at that point, and does something stupid, I don't have a problem with a guy like that. He's very cautious, very responsible, keeps his guns locked up, and, he practiced safe usage of his guns. Those guys I'm not concerned about.
Somebody take that damn boat away from him, too.
He's got 2 boats. I mean, he may have gotten rid of one of them, but I know he has one. He's been rebuilding that, stripped it all down, put in new carpet, and But he's a sportsman. He's a fisherman and a hunter. Those guys you don't hear too much, too often that they go off and do something crazy. It's these militia guys, these real nutball whack jobs, I'm more concerned about. The guys that the FBI are aware of and don't do anything about. Well, yeah, he was on our list, and he went dark for a while, and we kind of misplaced him as to where. No, I don't want to hear that. No. Can you imagine how many FBI agents are assigned to investigating this current administration? Probably the entire force. Because this stuff is so deep, so all the other criminals are getting away with stuff because nobody's paying attention to everything else.
There's something like 19,000 FBI agents.
And they probably got 18,900 of them working on this thing.
They're like...
They should.
There's so many of them that are to regular domestic crime. The other ones are foreign-based. I mean, not based, but foreign identified.
Right.
So I would have to say this. This Russian connection, you see where they're trying to spin it now. Collusion is not a crime. That's what do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Collusion is not a crime. Well, treason is a crime. How about that? Colluding with aiding and abetting and giving comfort to the enemy.
Right.
Come on. So now America, the right, is okay with collusion and treason?
Now, let me ask you something. If you were in Trump's position and everybody's pointing the finger at you, accusing you of being in collusion or in close relations with the Russians. Let's just focus in on the Russians for a second. But you are showing a whole different face of warming up, sucking up, being friendly with the Russians, who have not been our friends forevermore. It seems to me that you at this point would be saying, I am not friendly with the Russians. I have no ties with the Russians. And in fact, I've just wrote another executive order to have more sanctions against these idiots. But we don't hear that from him. So why shouldn't we think that he's in cahoots? Has he passed one thing that's made it tougher on the Russians? Has he said, Russians, if you screw with our infrastructure ever again, we're gonna take the roof off of you, those little chrome domes you got out there? Now, I don't hear no tough talk coming from him.
But they're
against
still
the Russians.
doing it because he can't do anything about it. Look, he's 70 years old. He's set in his ways. He's the baddest man on the street. Nobody tells him what to do. He is mentally unstable. And Lee, if Clinton and the Attorney General meeting on a tarmac raise such issues,
right?
Such a suspicion, and knowing nothing, but assuming their assumptions led to their talking points. What is wrong with the Democrats?
Well, I was talking about them earlier in the show. I said they need to show some spine and start fighting back.
Connection, the whole 9 yards. How about that? Mueller and Comey are great friends, and Mueller is hiring Clinton people who contributed to Clinton's. Damn.
I don't have a problem with any of that, but I have a bigger problem with you being friendly with the freaking enemy. When you're sleeping with the enemy, you know what? You're not on my side.
And not just his son-in-law.
Yeah.
The spy banker. It's not really a bank. The so-called bank he heads is not really a bank. It's registered nowhere.
Wow.
So he owes the Deutsche Bank $350 million. And the Deutsche Bank is fighting subpoena to release some of their records.
Well,
and I don't expect nothing. I don't expect nothing from the federal government.
No. Since
Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions is the Attorney General now. They should be not seized because they're a foreign bank. They should be locked out of the market, locked out of any transaction in the U.S. Because that's the best you can do.
It is. I mean, it's not like you can go in there and lock them down or arrest them or they have those courts give you a subpoena or, to go in and do anything. They can just throw their finger up to you because you don't have any control over them.
Well, they're on foreign soil.
That's right.
And that's why you sanction them to bankruptcy.
Well, let me ask you this.
You sanction anything doing.
Do you think the now former U.S. ambassador from Russia will come up MIA?
No. They told him to come home. They told him to come home
to protect him.
Right. Not to just protect, because all eyes were on him now. Everybody.
Sure.
Everyone is meeting with him.
That's right.
He is a spy.
Period.
According to our intelligence agency, he is a spy.
Straight up. No sugarcoat on that one. That's the truth.
So let's get him off the scene and let the Americans flail.
Let them fight among themselves and not give them access to what we know. Now, isn't it interesting that Putin or any of his cronies have really come out and said, we had nothing to do with your election? I mean, they've kind of hinted around, but, if they were not involved, why haven't they come out and said, we absolutely had nothing to do with it. We did not invade your servers. We didn't do any of that. Like a bunch of crickets. So that, to me, is a sign of guilt. Unless they are trying to use that as leverage and to make us fight among ourselves and destroy our democracy.
They've already done that. Exactly. They're already doing that.
Exactly. All right, folks. Well, thank you for coming in today, being a part of the show. Alfo, Chris, certainly Carol. They got my dandruff all up today and beat me up real bad today, but that's all right. Carol, for that you have to buy lunch today.
I'm leaving early. I have to make a huge potato salad for somebody's party.
Runaway child, running wild.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
Why, are you hungry?
I'm always hungry. You know that. All right, folks. Thank you. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Are you off early?
On thepowerofvoices.com. I'm never off early. On thepowerofvoices.com, right here, 10 a.m. Pacific time. See you then. Bye-bye.